Right. All right, we will stand for the karakia and then we will get the meeting started.
Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga, kia mā kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai, e hea ke ana te atakura, he tio, he huka, he hau, te ora.
So we'll officially open the meeting at 4:33 p.m. First up, we have apologies. So today we have an apology from James Goff.
David, second.
Okay. Move David and second and Bridget. All in favour? Against? Carried.
I might also be an apology for an early.
I was going to mention that. Well, you guys put the most first one so far. Yeah, but so potentially an early departure for Bridget as well. And amongst that one. We have no declarations of interest. If anything comes up during the meeting, please just let me know. We move on to item number 3, confirmation of the previous minutes. Can we have a mover for those minutes? Ben to move. Seconder, David. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you very much. With that, we move on to item number 4, public forums. We have no public forums today, so we can move straight on to item number 5, which is our deputations by appointment. And so first up on Redcliffe Road, we have Gary Uren. Is Gary here? Is Gary online? No Gary at the moment. Okay. All right, well, we can come back to Gary if Gary shows up a little bit late. Otherwise, Fox Bennett's on Redcliffe Road. As usual, 10 minutes, including time for questions.
Thank you. Tēnā koutou katoa ko Fox tōku ingoa. Firstly, thank you for the new bike racks outside here. Awesome. Maybe a few more needed. And also thank you for the new school speed limits that have just gone in the area. I've noticed a few in the school holidays. Thank you for that. I hope that those are being monitored and perhaps some police presence in their bedding in phase would be useful. Redcliffe Road is an essential connection between Spring Road subdivision and the rest of Belfast and Northwood area. The Northern Line major cycleway stops at a critical junction, leaving cyclists with a dangerous 60km/h road in either direction to connect through to the Northern Arterial Shared Path facility. Please build the safest option as soon as possible with adequate signage around the railway crossing until Kiwi Rail builds their path. Please also extend the path through to Northwood Supercentre on the northern side, making that safe to access by foot and bike. Until the bus routes are extended in the Belfast area, please also install bike parking at the bus stops for the number 1, number 125 and number 27 bus stops so that locals can lock their bike to the bus rack in case the bus racks are already full, or if the bikes are too heavy or too wide to put on the front of the bus. Belfast Road is also dangerous with no shoulder on the section just east of the railway, where I have had also terrifyingly close passes from motorists who are none the wiser. Please install a sealed shoulder here urgently. I'm happy to take questions.
That's great, thank you very much. Any questions on that one?
Just quickly, Fox, what was your position on the side, each side of the road for the path? Do you think it's on the correct side of the road? The path on Redcliffe?
I mean, ideally it would be on the north side because that's where the residents are, but I know that there's like a drainage ditch water facility thing there and there's not much space. And also in the winter months, it'll be shaded and it'll be cold and slippery. And so the south side is the safer side in terms of the weather and the environment. It's just a shame you have to cross it at both ends to access it. One more note was that please don't design for one kind of cyclist at the exclusion of the other kind of cyclist. So I ride along there and I connect all the way through to Spencerville. Crossing the road twice is going to be annoying, but I'd rather do that and be safe than be on the road shoulder with cars literally like within 30 centimetres of my shoulder. So just be aware that you will have fast cyclists and slow cyclists and prams and everything else to contend with and make it safe for everyone, please. Thanks.
Can I just add to that? Tex Monday that owns the block on the northern side, he's looking at subdividing that in the near future. So he'll put that in as part of this,
A footpath will go in, excellent.
just time.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks,
That's
David.
good feedback.
That's good, thank you.
Next up was Anne Scott on behalf of Spokes. Redcliffe Road and the Community Board Plan.
Kia ora koutou, Anne Scott Tokaringa. Can you put up the presentation, please? So I'm going to talk first about the annual plan. First of all, there are a huge number of cycling benefits that getting more people to cycling actually makes a big difference in terms of people's health, safety, reduced emissions. But at the moment, people are focused on the economic impact of the rising cost of fuel. And so we're seeing a lot more people cycling. The latest figures I saw was 6%, but the feeling on the pathways is that actually it's increased a lot more than that. And you're seeing people who you think have never cycled on these pathways before. They don't quite know their left and their rights and the various other protocols and unspoken protocols that work. So, and that's really great to see. But what we need is the safest infrastructure that we can to encourage even more people to cycle. Next, please. So the list of priorities that you had, the transport priorities, will help cyclists and pedestrians. Whittles Road in particular is a death knell for anyone who wants to walk or anyone who wants to cycle. It's really hard to get across. Turning right from a car is really safe compared with trying to walk across there. There is no footpath on the other side at all. And there is one safety crossing between Racecourse Road and Whittles Road, but it's one of the really old design ones that really needs an upgrade. So when you're thinking about upgrading that intersection, please think about that wider area around the intersection and improving it for cyclists and pedestrians. We're really supportive of the safety improvements for Avonhead School. It's really needed. We're talking about the Redcliffe improvements now, and so I'll move on from there. But one of the big things that can be done is increasing the shared paths and ways of getting in and out of those paths from the road. So there is a real opportunity here with Burnside Park, Sheldon and Nunwick Park to actually upgrade the facilities so that there are ways of getting through places, making it porous. And that really does make a big difference in terms of where people are cycling. In terms of Burnside Park, I bike it all the time. I live very close to there. The existing path has been renewed and it's still really narrow and it's got these big bollards in the middle and someone with a wheelchair can't get through. So we need to think about everyone who's using these sorts of facilities. Nunwick Park and Sheldon Park, particularly Sheldon Park, that's used a lot by people going to Burnside High on cycles, and so we need to think about improving those as well. Pardon me. And I'm really interested in this idea of a Maryvale pilot of to look at community safety and traffic safety, because I think there's a lot of good ideas out there that people have that we need to sort of gather up and so that everyone has an idea that actually the appropriate transport for them is being listened to and being delivered. Next, please. But we've got some other priorities which didn't quite make your list, and so I wanted to talk about those as well. So one is Memorial Avenue at Island Road. So if you're going straight down Memorial Avenue at the top picture and you're heading towards the airport, that left-hand lane is really dangerous. When there's a lot of traffic there, most people who know that road stay in the right middle lane. But there are idiots who are going at speed up the left-hand lane, and it's really getting dangerous. And I've seen people actually fall off their bike. I saw a woman fall off her bike because she was trapped between. She had nowhere to go. Essentially, this car came up behind her, and she had to swerve in behind a parked car. And so if you made that a bus lane where people can go into bus lanes and turn left quite happily, that would make that road safer. And to be perfectly honest, it would also make the cars move more fast, because at the moment they're stopping and waiting for those idiots to join the queue. The next one is we'd really like cycle lanes for the full length of Greers Road. It's on bits of Greers Road, but it's not the full length. And the other thing we'd like to do is an upgrade of the crossing on Graham's Road at Flay Park and into Parkham Reserve. If you see the bottom, that's the crossing there. You see lots and lots of Burnside High and other students crossing there. And when there's a lot of traffic, it's actually really difficult to get through, and there's very little waiting space there as well. So this is a good one to have a look at, a safety look at. And of course, we want the unicycle major cycle route extended to Avonhead and Russley, and eventually to link up to the South Express, going down Steadman's Road and round there. So up to Avonhead Park and round across down Steadman's Road, and then we'd have a nice orbital route. Next, please. Now, small projects are also really important. And so, some of the best safety thing that you can do is to actually reduce speeds. It's all the research says that is the most impactful thing. But we do want more pedestrian and cycling refuges. Bike parking is, when we talk to cyclists now, bike parking is one of the biggest barriers to cycling. Because you're on your e-bike, it's $3,000 or $4,000, or even if it's a $200 bike or less that you really need for your transport, getting it stolen is not good. So more quality bike parking, bike with staples like the ones you've just put in out here. Signage and wayfinding. When we talked to the University of Canterbury students, their top one was signage. They were getting lost. We did talk to them in orientation week, that did help. But that was the top thing that they wanted us to fix. Timely removal of glass and debris. We have a lot of great alleyways in this area, but often they have no way of getting into the alleyway. There's no cut down. They've got a staple, which even someone in a wheelchair can't get through. And there's no reflective tape on the bollards. So at night it becomes a bit hairy. And then we want enforcement of parking lanes and cut downs between roads and parks, and I could go on and on about what we'd like. We did have an interesting conversation with Aaron at the council meeting about actually looking at a list of some of these things that we could actually give to the community board and say, well, this would be our priority and it'd be nice to get this done. Next, please. So Radcliffe Road, move on to Radcliffe Road. What you're planning is a significant improvement in safety and accessibility for cyclists and pedestrians. Radcliffe Road's a really important link between the Northern Line and the Northern Corridor. But even further away, more cyclists are coming from the sections that, now that the Norwest Dark has got sections complete, there are far more cyclists going on there. And you can actually come all the way across from Burnside through to Kaiapoi in that route, and it's actually the fastest route. So please think about that. It's a nice connector. We're really happy to accept a pragmatic decision for the railway crossing. We know that we will wait for a long time to get that completed. And if the priority is under Scrutton's Road, which we don't agree with at all, it's really kind of interesting. So Spokes would urge the board to go ahead with option one, to accept what has been recommended by staff and to build it as soon as possible. We also would like you to go back and look at the speed changes along here. Strongly urge you to at least drop it to 50 kilometres an hour. These changes on the road there was a comment by staff that it's a rural road. But these changes will no longer feel like an urban semi-rural road. And so the time is now to actually reduce that speed, and that will make it safer for everyone. There was a comment about whether it should be on the north or the south. The north floods really badly. See that picture up the top, it looks like green grass, but actually, up until where that woman is, it's full of water. You couldn't have gone on that grass at all and not get your shoes really wet. So as the number of cyclists and pedestrians increase in the area, we'll also need to think about doing something to connect the shared path on one side of the road to the shared path on the other side of the road. This is the main North Road. And so we really need to start thinking about a cycle phase on that road as well, so that people can safely get across. Thank you. Is there any questions?
Bridget?
Yeah, thank you for coming along and sharing. I really liked when you shared just like some of the small sort of low hanging fruit things that we could do as a board. I appreciate that with our board plan, like we're looking at bigger things, but some of those things were really helpful. I wonder if we could like know specifically like the reflective tape on bollards, like whether you know exactly those locations, and that's something that I think we can definitely get in touch with staff to just make some of those small improvements.
Yeah, I
Even
mean,
if they are part of our board.
yeah, and in fact, if you gave us the tape that was official and an official how to do it,
Yeah,
we'd do it. We'd go around and do it for you.
right, we'll see if that's legal. And then, yeah, cool.
Any other questions from anyone else on that one?
We can put us in touch with Natalie about the Mirabelle.
Yes, yeah, sure. Yeah, Miriam was saying we'll put you in touch with Natalie around what those plans are for that Mirabelle project, and just a couple of thoughts from me. Yeah, well, it'll be good, really good to get a list of all of those little things. I think we might have some of them already, and then maybe some that we've already had some staff feedback on, which may or not help us with the resolution, but we can review those. Because it'd be good to go through those as a board, and there may be a case of we have a list of 10 or 15 things, we can get staff to come in and give us, and we can literally just sit down in a workshop or work through with them on them at a point by point basis and do them all at once. And then the other one is whether it's council policy or not. It'd be interesting to know whether there's already citywide rules for any new bollards and things like that they have to have their reflective tape on, because we can retrospectively go back and have a look at the ones that haven't been done yet. But is it a default position of the council that anything new that's going in the moment has those? So that way we essentially stop the bleeding and make sure that everything going forward has those, so that it's not something that has to continue to be done. So that may be a Aaron, Sam, David type situation, question to ask a full council around what is the current, I guess, framework that they're operating to when they're putting these things in.
Yeah, so I would encourage you, Anne, to even do a survey through the group. Send us get them to prioritise which of the lanes that they want them in, and also the bike stand one as well. Give us 3 bike stands in the ward or in the ward areas. Just say, look, our people are saying we had 20 people say outside here or wherever it is. Give us that list. Just send it straight in. And those jobs are quite easy. The bigger ones are harder. And if there's any specific cut downs where it makes it a lot easier to get through a lane, list a couple of those as well.
We'll do that and give it to you.
That's great. Any other questions from anyone? No, that's great. Thank you very much. All right. With that, pardon? No, he hasn't. Gary hasn't joined us. No? Okay, that's fine. Right, with that, we move on to presentation of petitions, of which there are none. So then we move on to staff report section. And the first one is item number 7, proposed road name for 232 Highstead Road. So do we have a Sean online? Okay, Sean.
Happy to move that, Jason.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Right. Is there anything specific you'd like to raise with that one, Sean, or should we just take that as read?
You can take that as read. I supplied some plans through to Aidan earlier today, and I realised that the road 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers weren't on the plan that went with the report. So I don't know whether there was any questions about that, but I guess my only comment is that Mother Teresa Drive, which is road 2, is the main road through that part of the block, and will continue east out to Cavendish Road across 2 other land holdings.
Yep.
So if we name that Mother Teresa Drive, then that's what we've got. Probably we just continue that road name right out to Cavendish rather than chop and change it partway through the route.
Great, thank you very much. Aaron to move, Ben to second.
No, it's all good.
All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you very much, Sean.
Next one is.
I think you're next for the second one, the next one as well. So
I am, yes.
number 8, proposed road name 65 Grampian Street. I guess we'll just take that one as read as well, unless anyone had any specific questions. Okay, no, Aaron to move, was that a second from Nicola?
Yes.
Okay, all in favour?
Right.
Against? Carried. Thanks,
Great.
Sean.
Thank you all. Cheers. Good evening.
Right, with that, some might say it's the main event, Redcliffe Road corridor improvements, Natasha.
Kia ora koutou.
Good.
I'm Natasha Wells. I'm the project manager for the Redcliffe Road corridor improvement. Today I have my team leader and acting delivery and planning manager, Matt Goldring, and the scheme designer, May Wong. So would you like to take this as read, or would you like me to just briefly cover the main events? Highlights.
Anyone have a preference?
It's read. I'm happy to move. Got a couple of additions which I'll ask in question if we can do them based on.
Should we do the question first?
Yeah, so the questions then would be, can we add to this a speed change up as far as Blake's Road, or just past Blake's Road, past where the crossing point is, so that becomes, because I drive that a lot and you struggle to do much over 50 anyway, and I like to drive quick. So it's a natural environment for that to be 50 to Blake's.
You clarify which section that is?
So from just going from the supercentre down to as far as Blake's Road. So Main North Road to Blake's Road, or just past Blake's Road where the pedestrian crossing is, which would make sense, then change to the 60. Would that be an issue?
That would match the Belfast Road.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to do it as part of this report, because under the new technical speed limits rule 2024, staff would need to do an assessment and then undertake consultation for 6 weeks. So it's not impossible,
Yeah.
it's just a separate process.
Yeah, just based on the deputation, which made sense on that, then if we can get that information back, would be good. And then the other one, and you'll probably have the same answer, was because of the extra people using it, there's no bus through there to add the bike stand to the bus stop. Is that able to be added into this, or do we have to get a whole separate report?
Don't believe there is a bus stop on the design.
No, but the bus stop's just around the corner. People using the design will be using the bus stop, but it's a lot easier to.
The Main South Road.
No, there's a bus stop just at the supercentre.
Yeah.
So just inside there, which we maintain. If we could add the bike stand to that bus stop as part of this.
So one of the challenges with the consultation, I mean, we had some great feedback.
Yeah.
But one of the difficulties we found was they were in relation to outside the scope of the project. So while we would encourage community to have that feedback, it would be something that they present to you guys for further development
Okay, so that's enough.
within the scope of this.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah,
Just thought I'd ask.
Yeah, we'll make a note. Yeah, let's
Save a $5,000 report for a $2,000.
Yeah.
bike stand.
We'll make a note of that. Just, you will follow those up separately from this year, and I think both of those things we should probably try and just get done as a matter of course. So
Yeah, I don't know if the speed one can get rolled in with the bike stand, but rather than a whole separate one, but who knows? Thank you.
any questions from anyone else on the design there? I've just got one or two I'd like to raise. One thing we noticed was the refuse island down at the Blake's Road end, so in the other image, down there is how many vehicles, it's kind of hard to tell the scale of a vehicle there, how many vehicles can we potentially get in that right turning arrow if we needed to? Like I'm imagining, well, from my experience, there's not a huge amount of traffic, but it's probably like somewhere between 1 and 3. It'd just be good to make sure that we've got enough coverage there for a couple of vehicles to get in, just if there is, like a late afternoon kind of surge, that it's not too busy if that little island potentially need to be moved. But the other side effect of that potentially is that we kind of will see kids not going further away from the crossing there, and then, or even some cyclists, they'll just pull up to the stop sign and then jump the curb on the other side and go onto the shared path, which people will do what they'll do. But from that perspective is, and maybe it's promoting that, actually putting a, what is it, the road level, what do you call it? Curb cut down or something, so that if somebody does do that, they don't have to jump up the curb to get back onto the cycle lane along there, or if, that was just a consideration, whether that's feasible or not.
So I'm hearing two things there. Trying to address the first one first.
Yeah, they're kind of related. One's dependent on the other to some degree.
Now, Mike, correct me, is it 3 cars, 3 cars?
It's about 30 metres, so it's probably about 4 cars.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's fine. Okay, yeah, it's actually there's more room than you think when you're looking at.
Yeah, some of these designs can be a bit misleading. That crossing was slightly further east.
Yeah,
But we moved it further west to be more in line with those design lines, while also ensuring that there was enough room for cars to move. So we looked at the volumes and whatnot. Your other question in terms of a cut down, so you would
directly kind of at the top of the T, because what's going to happen, right, is people are going to go, I'm not going to go down there, there's no cars coming, I'm just going to ride up to that yellow line, and then I'm going to jump the curb up onto the shared path and then ride along the shared path. Like essentially right at the top of the T.
So you're suggesting pedestrians or cyclists?
Cyclists.
Okay.
And whether that's feasible or not, because otherwise they're gonna do it anyway, and it just make it a little bit easier. Or otherwise they're just gonna ride up the road until that the driveway, and then they're just gonna cut into it there. So I don't know whether that's something which you guys have
Oh, so you're meaning over there from the ones going east, or?
so they essentially come up from Blake's Road.
Yeah.
So turning right from.
Yeah, turning right from Blake's Road, you know, instead of going down to the cyclists are gonna just go, I'll stop at the yellow lines if it's quiet, and then I want to be on the shared path.
Yeah,
So they'll just
then they'll
ride
jump up at
across the road
120.
and they'll just jump up onto the shared path.
At 120.
But before 120.
Yeah. That's what I'd do.
Oh, yeah.
So
what is the curb line there? Is it an actual raised? proper
yeah, the
curb?
red line says
It's the
proposed
proper
curbing.
curb.
Does it make sense what he's saying?
Yeah. So you follow? If we turn right into there, have a yeah.
As opposed to going.
Yes.
Yeah, so you want one, we're almost where that arrow is.
Yeah, like just a tiny little cut down where somebody just rather.
This is something that we can look at in detail.
Yeah, can I just flag that, because obviously we don't want to hold this.
Personally, my first reaction will be, would we want to promote that unsafe behaviour of people coming across?
Yeah, it's the pragmatic versus the what are we promoting? It's the same thing, kind of philosophically as the shared path up to the railway lines. But if it's something which could feasibly be done from a pragmatic approach and not impact, promoting certain behaviours, then it would be good if we could look at that.
Something we could get
Yeah,
a safety assessment done on.
It's what we're asking for in here as approval of the scheme design to take us to detailed design.
Okay.
So certainly we can take that on board. Because the path on Blake's Road is not a shared path, it's a footpath.
Yep.
Cyclists would be in the carriageway. So to turn right from Blake's into Radcliffe, you'd be ideally making a safe right turn there.
Cyclists are legally allowed to be on the road.
Oh, yeah.
So that's not an unsafe thing, it's still illegal.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's, yeah.
And then cut down the footpath
Yeah.
being.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so that, okay, so so let's just see if we can raise that one for the detailed design.
Because they're not going back up around.
Who would?
And then we'll see one other one here.
Bridget might. 3 babies on the bike.
Getting like.
Oh, it was just around, the last one was around the, I guess, safety signals for vehicles to know that up at the supercentre end, that at the moment, I think there's still a little bit of a rise and a drop there. And obviously that won't get sorted out until the level crossing upgrade gets done. But in terms of like traffic calming or just making sure there's plenty of notification that now that there's going to be people crossing at that point at the top end. So could you bring that one up for me, Aidan, please? The other picture. Just like obviously people are going to be crossing a lot. So will we be able to have more signage just to make people highlight the fact that there's going to be a lot more pedestrians doing this than there have been previously? or a lot more cyclists crossing over.
Signage, yeah.
Yeah, just want to make sure that we're like over allowing, because obviously there is going to be an additional risk with more people going down there. So if there's anything we can do just to put up signage, Aaron.
So something I've asked about in the past, but it's never really been the design for it. Where the pedestrian thing is there any chance that we can, I'm happy to experiment in our ward with it, where when you go to cross, you hit a little button and just an orange light flashes? So it indicates to motorists coming through there's a pedestrian, so it could be as foggy as hell, but there's an orange light flashing and everyone would go, oh, there's a pedestrian about to cross. And it's just an alert mechanism.
Do you mean like the ones, say, out south?
I don't think
It comes, these are more, I think further south there's a trigger from the vehicle, so you know when you're on State Highway 1, there's a car coming to a T junction.
Yeah, the same sort of thing, except a pedestrian version, so you can just hit the button and it will flash. So even if you've looked both ways and then go to cross, if someone's coming that for whatever reason, and we could experiment with one here, and if they work there, then they could be used in other, because I know you don't do pedestrian crossings and we don't want to set of lights because that's just overkill. But can we try that? Can you even ask the questions?
We can ask the question.
Ask the question. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just literally an orange flashing light. And it just would make it so.
Oh, thank you.
What's that?
I can close that out for you now. No, we can't do that because it's not, there's
It's not.
nothing within the traffic control devices rules that allows to do a formal trial with NZTA. Staff can look to do that, but there is costs around that. So before we went down that path, we would have to look at the costs and bring those back to see if it's something that you would work with do. If there was that significant pedestrian demand, then we would look at a pedestrian crossing, a zebra crossing. You just have
Well,
to
the reason why I suggest the orange light system is there's not the demand. And so sometimes it'll be a surprise to motorists that there might be a pedestrian and the orange light would have just let them know. But I'm just trying to solve a problem that exists. But if the rules don't allow that, then they don't.
Currently they don't. It doesn't mean to say we can't do a trial, but there is costs around doing that trial and getting the trial approved by NZTA.
Right.
For the traffic control devices.
Last one from me. Now, the report talks about doing like a safety audit or review of the usage after it's been installed. I'm not sure whether there'll be a note in there or not that could we get access to that once that's been, essentially get a report or briefing on that one as soon as that information comes out, because it'll be really useful to understand what that looks like, if there are any implications after the design's put through, and then we can communicate with that with the community as early as possible.
So the design safety audit?
Yeah, well, what do they call it? I think there was going to be some monitoring of the usage after it was installed.
Oh, yeah.
Just to make sure that we, like, once that's done, that we get that as promptly as we can, just so it doesn't kind of slip through the.
We are looking at traffic counts and usage in that time after it's constructed.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We could almost do it first, Jason, and take that information and present it, you know, where we got ambushed last time at the public meeting, but do a public meeting on these are the results, this is what's happened, because then those people can come back.
Yeah, be really proactive on it.
Yeah.
That's, I think the community would definitely enjoy that.
Yeah, that's public information, isn't it?
I mean, what we've got scheduled already is not long before construction to have a count of traffic in that area. So the most recent before construction.
Yep.
And then maybe 6-12 months after construction, do that again, just a
Yeah,
comparison.
that'd be perfect to get that once that's completed.
Yeah, no, that's already on the plan.
Alright. Any other questions from anyone?
Great.
Okay, have a
Move.
move that one. Seconder.
I've added this in.
Consider yeah, okay, great. Thanks, Adam.
And part of this has to go to council because there's a special vehicle.
Okay, so there'll be part of that.
You could possibly ask council to get advice about the speed limit.
As a part of that,
Yeah.
what do we think about that, asking? 'Cause we might go.
If we can, yeah. We'll just ask for the advice. I mean, that gets it started. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it just lets them know that's something we were interested in, so if you could add that in.
Because the speed would be changed before the construction begins. Because it'll be a separate report, because that's literally a design.
Yeah, so it might even, might be able to be done sooner, just incrementally improve the safety a little bit along the way. Right, thank you.
Okay.
So I'll just want to say one thing, I guess, before we just make a decision on that, is just thanks very much to the staff and the community for the patience and just working through the process. It has been a, I guess, somewhat complex with the involvement of KiwiRail and the rail corridor and just capability to get these rail corridor projects pushed through as quickly as possible around the country, let alone just in Christchurch and Canterbury. So yeah, appreciate all of the work that's gone into getting us to this point, and the fact we could get to a pragmatic approach on the shared path, because I think the Bakes Road part of it is incredibly important to the community, but the shared path is almost the most important part. I don't think they would have been particularly satisfied if we'd done like a Blake's Road bit in advance and they still had to wait another year or 2 years because of KiwiRail procedure to get the shared path part in. So it's a really good result for the community in general. And while it doesn't necessarily have exactly what everybody wants, I think it covers most of what everybody needs, and there's some room for improvement in the future. So just want to say thanks very much, everybody, for all the work on that one. Aaron?
Yeah, we don't speak a lot at our board meetings, but I will add to this, echo your words. Thank you for the staff to getting us to this point, because this has been a real battle mainly with KiwiRail, trying to sort out how we could do around there. I will thank Spokes for coming in and speaking today to it as well. I was very reluctant to have it on the south side because the natural desire line's on the north side, but it was actually Fox's deputation around the shade and the walking in winter and the cold and the icy side that actually persuaded me that the south side is the better side. So that deputation is valued. For our ward, this will probably be the biggest thing we do this term. This is a really, really big thing for our area that's been put on. We put it on budget in 2018 and it's taken this long. So this will be incredibly appreciated. So hopefully everyone supports it. And the kids are going to cut across on diagonals and run that intersection. I'll just predict that now. So the sooner that's 50k an hour, the better. Because they're not going to walk up around the corner and come back down, because they'll take the shortest route. So 50k will be much better.
Anyone else? No. Okay, we had Aaron to move, David to second. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Fantastic. Thank you very much for all your work.
It's in terms of the phasing as well.
Yes. Don't get that was on there.
Just want to make sure we get it done.
Yeah.
Sooner the better.
Yeah.
Right, with that, we move on to item number 10, Marston's Road, and we have Nick Reid to present on that one. Oh, it's actually Gemma.
Today.
Okay, great.
I'm Gemma, Principal Advisor of Transport Safety at City Council. I'll take the report as read. And just to let you know, Waitai approved their half of project 2 weeks ago. So yeah, we're here for stop control and clear giveaway markets.
Right. Do anyone have any questions? Yeah, Aaron?
I just had one. Can we bring up the image going around that corner? Because on our side, as you're coming up Marston Road and you turn around into Main North, it's a hook turn and there's not very good visibility there. Something will come up Marston quite quickly. So if we just look at that image, the question, I just need it. See on the slip lane going around to the left?
Yep.
And you got your blue line around there. Can that be marked, the edge of the blue line with a rumble strip and just a cycleway marking in there? Because that's where cyclists cycle when they come up Marston if they're going to turn around there. And for people, and they walk horses, but just to make the motorists consider twice about cutting in at that point. I know it's not a cycleway or anything along there, but just around that corner to keep them wide of.
Yeah, so the new blue line is to push drivers out so that people, because we do get people walking through there to get the bus as well. So marking a cycle lane would probably not be the best idea because it is too fast. However, we can look at the treatment of the edge line.
Yeah, so like a rumble strip or something?
Something like that. So we don't have residents up there, so yeah, we can definitely have a look at some tactile outside lines.
Yeah, a tactile on there would be really good. Cool. Sweet. That was it.
Any other questions from anyone? No, I'm happy to move that one. If we could have a seconder. Okay.
You're keeping Aidan busy tonight.
Yeah, well, just trying to take his mind off other things.
Smoke him off.
Yeah.
The little thing doing up.
Just pedestrian or bicycle.
Right. Everyone comfortable with that? Yep, okay, I'm happy to move. We have a seconder for that one. Lucy to second. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thanks for that.
Right, with that, we move on to item number 11. So this is you as well, Glandover, Heaton, Rossall, Strowan. Gemma.
So we're doing quite a bit of work in the area to kind of support the Northwest Area Traffic and Three Waters works. This intersection, we're looking to put in right turn green arrows on the two approaches that don't currently have them, just to make it easier for people to get around. So yeah, happy to take the report as read. There is a note that staff will review the intersection after this has been done, but we would have to come back to the board for any change. So we're happy just to monitor that through RTO, and if need be, we can optimize as much as we can in the signals. But if there is compounding delays, then it's something that we can have to come back to the board and have a discussion about in future. So it is just a note. It's not a approval or anything. It's just for staff to keep an eye on it, see how traffic's going in the area, and then if we need to make any more changes, we'll come back to the board.
We move.
I've got a question. Sorry, just a bit of clarity around that. So, in the report, yeah, you talk about how you want to watch the changes made after these green areas are put in, and it also sounded like when reading the report that the green arrow has been put in because there's going to be an expectation that they'll be needed when the Three Waters work is done. So when you are looking at that experiment phase, right?
Yeah.
How long that's going to obviously be done, you're going to be watching that when the Three Waters is being put in, but then it would be really great to also see how the green arrows impact the safety of the area even after the Three Waters is done, because we've had this area as a bit of a focus for the Maryvale ward around just the safety concerns. Have been quite a few near misses. So these green arrows are amazing, but it'd just be good to know that timing, because obviously it's checking to see how these green arrows impacted drivers through the Three Waters. But then there's also, well, how will the green arrows impact the safety generally even after the Three Waters stuff? Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So yes, whenever we make a change at a signalised intersection, we generally try to monitor for 6 months just to see what the impacts are.
Yeah.
However, we do have the schools close by to here as well. And so from my safety perspective, looking to see how that benefits the intersection for all road users is something that then would also be considered. It's not just the queues are probably getting a little bit longer, people are getting delayed a little bit more, when actually if it's made the intersection safer, there's always just that balance that we try to get to. So it's not we'll watch it through the Three Waters work and then see what happens. It'll be if it has made an increase, like a substantial increase in safety, because it is a big intersection for a lot of different road users that might just be, we just leave it as it is.
Because do you find that green arrows create impatient drivers, or does it help does it help traffic get through safer?
Yeah, I think this is something we probably do need to look into a little bit more, because people may be willing to accept that little bit extra delay because they do get the right turn green arrows.
Yeah.
Like it's still limited to certain intersections in Christchurch. And I know personally, I drive most places, is that I like the green arrow because you know that you're going to get the turn rather than trying to go late orange, red.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably something we probably do need a discussion at some point with the community about accepting that delay, because we can't keep increasing the time at the intersection because everyone then gets delayed. But how we split up the time that we are giving to different users is probably something that we need to maybe have
So there's
conversations.
I
I don't have any evidence to say that, you know, if we add a green arrow to every turn, that the delay would increase and therefore people might get more frustrated. But I can always talk to Auckland and Hamilton. They have a lot of green arrows and see how their drivers behave.
I know, and I get Christchurch drivers are different, you know, but okay, well, that's interesting. Well, you know, I think maybe it's just flagging the fact that there are some safety concerns in that area.
Yep.
So we're really curious to see how those, what
And
findings.
maybe through that Maryvale group that we can ask
Yeah,
how they
amazing.
feel the difference
That'd be
in the
great.
changes.
Thank you.
Where's the talk?
I'm happy to move.
Move.
Happy to second.
The second. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you very much, Gemma. Item number 12, grant an easement for the fibre installation to enable at Tullip Park. Elizabeth.
Second.
Do you know I actually don't get tables?
You don't, well, you don't know, you don't have to get to the table as well. I guess we can push that through. I guess one just piece of feedback on it, so doesn't seem to be any problems with it for me, just as the length of the report. It was incredibly detailed and probably a lot of more work went into it potentially than necessary.
So agree.
Yeah, okay.
Leave with that. And said back to me about 2 or 3 times to add this, add that, add that.
Yeah.
Who and why?
We don't need to name shame, Aaron.
No, don't name and shame.
Sometimes it does serve its purpose.
Yeah, hopefully
Okay.
there'll be staff delegations soon, so.
Okay, that's great to hear.
True.
But no one had any other questions on that one? No, I'm happy to move that. Give a seconder for that. David second, all in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thanks, team. Thank you
Okay,
very
thanks
much.
for that.
Elizabeth. Item number 13, Better Off Fund application. Natalie. Oh, you are over there.
Pretty simple, this one really. We were originally giving the funding to All Souls. Unfortunately, it was beyond their capabilities once they actually went into the details of it. But thankfully, Linda and the team at the Belfast Community Network said they could do it. And they've actually got a community van people use, and they said it's getting close to its last legs. So it's like perfect win-win. They're already doing it. And that way it gives us one on one side of the ward and one on the other side of the ward, because the other one's at St Barnabas. So.
Second.
Aaron to move, David second, all in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Item number 14, YDF fund applications.
Happy to move.
Okay. We may as well sit down.
Let's relax.
Any questions?
No questions from anyone? Okay, Aaron's happy to move.
Unrelated question, once we're finished.
That one finished. Ben to second,
Makes me nervous.
all in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you very much for those, team.
Yes.
Unrelated question. So I now sit on the Mies Welfare Fund, and
Yes.
we've got maybe it's a question for later, but there's lots of opportunity to maybe help some people. Are you aware of it? Are you aware of the criteria? Can we help push some money out?
Definitely. Yep. Yep. No, all good. Thank you.
Probably you as well, more you.
Yeah.
Nice.
With
You
that,
heard.
Next time.
thank you very much. With that, we move on to item number 15, the Youth Development Fund approval process. Marianne.
Yep, so this is just asking you to maybe have a wee review of the way we currently approve youth development applications. So your current process is that applications up to $500, I have the delegated authority to approve, and then I report back in the area report. Anything over 500 comes to you for a decision on a formal board agenda. Due to some changes up above, that would actually require a full options report now, which seems a little bit excessive. So you've got some options there that you could carry on doing it like that, or you look at increasing my delegation, or you look at approving it via email, which is what a lot of the other boards do. But, so there's 3 options there for you to think about.
I'll move option A. Oh.
Sam beat you to the punch here. Would you like to second that one, Aaron?
I'll second that, please.
Second that one.
So option A does result in us putting a cap. So the most we'd ever give out would be $1,000, and which we very rarely have anything over that anyway, so.
Okay. Cool, all right. Sam,
On that, if there was a very extreme circumstance, then we can just depart from rules at that point and bring a paper, wouldn't we?
You assume so.
If there was one that came in that was going to require over 1,000.
Yeah.
I would still have to bring a report to you.
Yeah, so that's fine. Yep. Let's go.
right. Sam to move, Aaron to second. All in favour
Aye.
of option A? Against? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. With that, we move on to item number 16. The 2026 to 2028 Community Board Plan. Marianne.
Take the report as read. So basically just providing you with all of the feedback we got from the submissions, which in general I thought was very positive, and asking you to consider adopting it.
Great. Anyone have anything they want to say on that one? No?
I'd just like to say thank you to Marianne and Aidan for a thorough report they've put together. It was very useful.
Cheers, Ben. Yeah, I'll just make a wee addition to that as well. So there are probably, we've got a broader board area which has a lot of development happening, and there are probably a number of priorities that we could have put in our 9 for the term in here that we haven't, and we've had to make some trade-offs. And I think that's one of the things that our board in general does pretty well, is we understand that there are trade-offs, and it's better to get 3 things done per ward and actually get them done every term rather than having 15 or 20 or a very, very ambitious plan and not be able to deliver on a number of those. So there have been a number of items which we will still try and progress outside of these priorities during the term. It doesn't mean this is the only things that we'll do. There are a number of small things and other medium and large things we'll try and get action through the LTP or outside of the board priority process, but having to make those trade-offs, I think from our community feedback, we've done a pretty good job on nailing 3 per ward, and looking forward to having all of those knocked off during the term. So thank you very much, everyone, for your help on that one.
Yeah, I just want to echo what you said, Jason, and the fact that you've said at the start, this is a living document. And I think as a board, we're really proactive when things pop up that are, not within the plan, and if they need urgency and there's a lot of public support, we're pretty proactive at getting onto that. And I think but the plan gives us focus, and that's really important to us, wanting to get things done. So yeah, thanks for all your work, team.
With that in mind, I'm happy to move that. If I have a seconder for that one. Nicola, maybe?
Yes.
Great. All in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried.
Yay.
Fantastic. Look forward to seeing the progress over the next couple of years. With that, we move on to item number 17, the Community Board Area Report. Marianne.
Happy to take it as read, and if you've got any questions, but just again highlighting what's been happening locally.
No questions from anyone on that one?
Just to say that what amazing turnout for the school principals meeting, really awesome. And I guess just to keep the comms going with what was raised would be really great, because it was super.
Yeah, it was really, the turnout was fantastic, and in the past we've assumed that the principals would have found that early 7 o'clock morning meeting better for them, and to hear from them that no, that's not good for us. We want to be at the school at the beginning of the school day. So after that, once everything's in, the kids are all in, it's settled, that suits us better. And so we've had some feedback from other boards to say they stopped holding the meetings because people weren't turning up, and they were holding them really early in the morning as well. So I've suggested they rethink and have a go at doing that later in the morning, see if it made a difference like ours has. Because it was, 16 principals turning up, 15, 16. It's very unusual.
Yeah,
Good.
But good, very good.
it's great. They have a good view of a very, very broad amount of people in the community. So they good people to get into a room. Okay, that's great. Can we get a mover for that?
Happy to move.
Bridget and Aaron second. All in favour?
All right.
Against? Carried. Right, elected members information exchange. Anything to share from anybody? Aaron?
I'll just quickly throw one in since the principals meeting was brought up. The Oldhurst School had raised the parking issues and that outside. And so I've gone to Aidan, and I think Marianne, you're in the conversation. It went through to staff, and Stephen Wright met me out on site like 10 days later. So it was that quick. The principal was shocked. She's going, what are these people doing in our car park? And we turned up and had a look down the street at the issues of where all the kids get dropped off. There's no paths. There's just there's a whole lot of problems. So we're looking at just getting something as simple as what the school said is a load of gravel in that, where people can park for the drop off and kids can walk, and then eventually there'll be a footpath needed there and stuff, which will come up a bit later on, but get a good temporary fix. And then check the behaviour, monitor it, and then work out a design going forward. So that was a real positive, and the principal was shocked. She didn't expect to see anyone for years. So
it's just grass burn there.
Yeah, which of course creates the ruts because everyone drives in them when it's raining, and then you've got problems and stuff. So no, it was good. And Stephen turned up himself, even when he had to go to an appointment, a health appointment, within half an hour, he still turned up. So that was really good to see.
Anything from anyone else? David?
Mia and I drove around the ward 2 Fridays ago, which was great. I highlighted a few issues. Chipslow Street, there's a resident who wants some yellow lines, and if the board can push forward on that, there seems to be some resistance somewhere along the line. We went to had a look at the Elmwood Park for the upgrade, and he's keen for support to get that as part of our initiative things. Traffic within the ward, which was also things, and we also talked about some vacant properties and just some upkeep in there. So we're on to that, which is great.
Great. All right. I think that's the end of elected members information exchange. With that, now I think we can stand for the karakia and then close the meeting.
Ia unuhia ki te uru tapanui, ia wātia, ke mama, te nākau, te tinana, te wairua i te ara takata. Ko ia rā e rongo, whakakairia ake ki runga, kia tina, huie, takie.
Right, thank you very much, everybody. With that, we close the meeting at exactly 5:30 p.m. and we maybe stop for a short comfort break and then get into the information session.
Is that all right, Sarah, if we have a quick break?
Yep.